If you like my dad's videos, please subscribe to QA Insights channel.
In this video, we are going to see how you can get your Kubernetes observability capabilities in your Ddosify platform. If you have not watched my Ddosify video, please go ahead and watch, and then you can come back here. Before we jump into the observability features, first let us see some high level about Ddosify. So Ddosify is a performance testing platform where you can run your performance testing in your cloud, or you can use the self-hosted Ddosify. So this is the quick stack in Ddosify. So Ddosify has two flavors. One is the Ddosify cloud, and another one is you can self-host your Ddosify using your own infrastructure. Then you can have your load engine where it is responsible to generate the load, and then this is the new component they introduced in this new observability capability, which is Ddosify eBPF agent called Alaz. I don't know how to pronounce this, Alaz or Alaz, I don't know. But eBPF requires a dedicated video, which I'll be posting it soon. But in this demo, we are going to see how you can make use of the eBPF agent in your Kubernetes cluster so that you can get your full observability. So now just go to your ddosify.com and sign up for a free account. And if you click on observability in the left side, so here this particular page will have all the instructions to get started. So once you click on this page and click on add cluster here, so this will take you to this particular add cluster dialog box. So here I'm going to give a name for this, say perf demo, and hit save. So to monitor your Kubernetes, of course you need to have Kubernetes. So I'm going to spin up my own Kubernetes cluster locally using multipass. So let us quickly spin up and then let us monitor the Kubernetes cluster. So just go to your terminal and install multipass from Ubuntu. So multipass is like where you can spin up VMs in your local pretty fast. To get started with multipass, I'm going to start creating some Ubuntu machine, which I already created earlier, so that I don't want to waste time here. So if you just create a machine and if you use multipass list, it will display the active VMs. So right now this particular Ubuntu, which is running 23.04, and this is the IP address. So now we are going to shell into this particular VM machine using the multipass shell and the name of the machine name. So right now the machine name is QA Insights. So right now we are into Ubuntu VM. So the very first step is to install Docker. So just follow the Docker documentation. You will get this instruction. Just hit enter. It will install all the Docker related GPG key. It will add the repository. It will update your packages. So now the key adding and updating the package is done. The next step is to install all the components for Docker. So this will install Docker CE, Docker CE CLI, container D, and then Docker plugin, etc. So once it is done, you can run your Docker containers. So once this is done, we are going to install K3s, so micro Kubernetes, so that I can run the Kubernetes cluster pretty quickly. It's very lightweight. And before that, let me add my Docker user to the sudo group. So we are good. So the next step is to install the K3s. So K3s, again, simple command, curl and get k3s.io. So it will download all the dependencies, K3s, everything, and then it will start in the background. So once this is done, we are going to deploy a sample app. But before that, let us install the eBPF agent, Ddosify Alaz agent. So once this is done, we can get started with that. So now the K3s installation is done. So to verify, we can issue the sudo kubectl and get nodes. So now you can see the roles control plane and master, which is up and running. Again, you can use a worker node using the get token. So I'm not going to do that. We are going to run everything in this particular node itself. Now let me clear my screen and let us go to the browser. And here we are going to set up the cluster. So just hit setup cluster here and you will get the instruction. So there are two ways you can install the agent. One is kubectl, another one is Helm. So we are going to use the kubectl method. So I'm going to copy the first 3 lines of this And let us quickly see about what it is doing actually. So here, if you see this particular first line, which is monitoring ID. So every Ddosify cluster, if you want to monitor, you will get the unique ID. And second step is it is downloading the resources folder from GitHub and alaz.yaml. So this is the YAML file where it will deploy Kubernetes objects. And this particular alaz.yaml has all the components, dependencies, everything to monitor your Kubernetes cluster. And the set command, what it will do is it will replace the monitoring ID with your monitoring ID which you mentioned here. So basically it is find and replace, and then it will make the changes in this alaz.yaml. So now if you hit enter, so now the alaz.yaml is done. So now if you just cat it out, you can see the YAML output. And if you just scroll up, you can see your monitoring ID. So this is what monitoring ID which we are going to use to monitor this cluster. So now next step is to create some Kubernetes objects. So for this I need to issue sudo actually. That's why in the initial steps I copied just 3 commands. So sudo kubectl create namespace Ddosify. So now the namespace Ddosify has been created. So now if you just issue sudo kubectl get a namespace, you can see all the namespace. So let me clear my screen, and the next step is to apply the alaz.yaml. So again sudo alaz.yaml apply. So now as I mentioned, there are 4 Kubernetes objects got created. One is the service account here, and cluster RBAC authorization, and then we have a role binding, and then daemon set. So what is new here? Basically, what is unique feature in this particular observability feature in Ddosify? So basically, the underlying technology is eBPF. So eBPF helps you to go deep to the kernel level, Linux kernel level, and you can do a lot of things, networking, security, and then you can write some small program to get most out of the kernel without touching the actual kernel code. So that's the beauty of eBPF. So I'm going to create new video about eBPF. So please stay tuned. So now just to monitor, so just issue kubectl get daemon set in the namespace Ddosify. So you can see alaz daemon set which is running. So right now there's one object of daemon set. So now if you go back to your browser, Alaz, you can see your Kubernetes cluster. So you get 2 tabs. So one is metrics and another one is service map. So metrics, again, you get all different types of metrics for the system: CPU, system load, RAM used, swap used, and CPU core. So this is my CPU core, how many cores I have allocated for this VM, and uptime, and then last data, total root volume, RAM total swap. So everything I can get it in this particular metrics tab. And this graph is interactive. You can just pan in, pan out, and then if you just keep scrolling, you can see the disk utilization, memory usage average, CPU usage average, and network usage average, and then you can select your interface as well. And here each graph has the legend. As you see, you can just toggle on and off. So it's pretty interactive, pretty neat, nothing noisy here. Beautiful graph. Okay, now observability. So when it comes to observability, go to service map. So in this service map, by default, it will display all the Kubernetes objects from all the namespaces. So at the top right, so this is where you need to filter out your namespaces, and also some settings and filters and timestamp and the sync option. And at the bottom left, you can pan in, pan out, and then fit the screen, and then you can there is again some of the hidden icon is there. So you just click, you'll get the latency legend, and then edge thickness depends on the RPS value. So typically some UI fancy things here. Okay, now let me filter out by Ddosify. So Ddosify, as you see here, one Kubernetes object, others are like roles which will not display. So this is the daemon set. If you just click, you can see the summary and resources. Well, so now we are not doing anything here. So we just created a Kubernetes cluster, and we are getting all the objects here and metrics. Okay, so next step is we need to, deploy a Kubernetes application. So for that, I'm going to use emoji Voto. So you can just, clone this repository. Let me go back to my terminal and let me clear my screen and clone this Kubernetes sample apps and go inside Kubernetes sample apps and let us apply the emoji Voto here. So sudo paste this command. So this will create all the sample Kubernetes objects. So the namespace is emoji Voto here. Okay, now, so all these are created. So we need to port forward the, the UI so that I can access it. So for the port forwarding, again, I'm going to use this command. So this will port forward the, the UI so that I can access it in the local. So curl localhost 8080 exposed port, you can see 200. Now we are good. Now let us go back to, Alaz and click on service map and filter by namespace. So now here we can see the emoji Voto namespace. So now we can see all the emoji deployment, VoteBot, web, voting, web service, emoji service, voting service, etc. So now let us run some test using Apache Bench. So I'm going to install the Apache Bench here using this command. So this will install Apache Bench. Okay, Apache Bench is done. Now let us run the simple test. So this will create some traffic, right? So now let us go back to browser. And before that, let us click on this sync button here. Just hit sync. So now you can see there is some traffic flowing in. So here there is a deployment called VoteBot. And if you click this particular VoteBot, you can see the outgoing traffic. So basically this traffic is not our load testing traffic, because the Alaz or Ddosify observability thing, it will not capture our traffic yet. So that feature is not implemented yet. So this is the traffic which I simulated from the sample apps. So basically this is deployment object. So this traffic will be hitting the web service. And again, this service, basically this is a Kubernetes service object basically. So this service is hitting the deployment. So this is the another deployment. So basically just for, simulate some background traffic, the sample app is automatically sending some requests to the emoji Voto application. So this has nothing to do with our Apache Bench testing, load testing. Okay. So just to be clear here, so it will not capture your traffic yet. So that is upcoming feature. So now the unique feature in this particular, service map is it will display the latency. So latency, average latency, and then RPS. And then if you just click here, you can see the status, which is forwarded. So this is one of the the core selling point of this particular feature. Okay, now if you click this eye icon, here you can see it just colored according to latency, and then edge thickness depends on RPS value. So what is my RPS value? So again, there are filters you can use. So if you just click on this filter, and here you can you can just slide up and down so that you can filter your traffic. Now if you just hit apply, so based on your filter value, it will just highlight the Kubernetes objects. Well and good. So now again, there is another option, which is zombies. So zombie pods might be running, zombie daemon set might be running. So you don't know what's going on with your cluster. So if you just toggle on this, you will get all the zombie pods, zombie objects. So these are some of the key features of Ddosify. Of course, this is the free version, and as you see at the top, available credits is 48.8k request, which I already used. So, but if you want to try, definitely you can check it out, the Ddosify Observability feature. So eBPF is picking up in load testing performance phase. So please learn the concept and try to implement if you get a chance in your project. So thank you. Have a good day.
If you like my dad's videos, please subscribe to QA Insights channel.